Hi, James. Good morning.
Hi, James.
Hey, morning, guys. Let's give 1 or 2 minutes for the folks to join in, and then we can get started. How was your working session yesterday? I saw a note that was productive. Can someone fill me in what happened and how was it? Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm gonna send you the file. We almost did the half the part, and I'll email you. And so instead of creating a new Excel file, we just started editing the customers, so we can like revise the customers' information and edit and convert it to drivers. So I mean that's how we did.
Okay, so
let me email you.
Can you send that file? I wanted to see that file.
Yeah.
I was waiting to give you guys a feedback on that.
Yeah, I'm sending you right now.
So I think I know one group was able to connect yesterday. Did another group connect yesterday?
No, I didn't get any email, no response to my emails or chat messages. So I don't think any one of us has. I mean, we have not done the assignment yet.
Okay.
I shared it.
I believe Hassan tried reaching out to you guys in Teams. If I remember, I think he dropped a message on yesterday morning. I was waiting for response from everyone. Let him join. I think I can provide you feedback on these things.
I don't see any messages. I created a group chat.
You did not have to create a group chat. I think I've already created a group for you all. That's the group we are using, right? Did you see other messages from other people in general group?
Oh, yes. Yeah.
Guys, please don't create groups or anything without letting me know. I'm trying to keep this super simple and in control. So if you guys don't mind, if you want to create a new group, let me know so I can create a new group for you. In that way, everyone will have the same permission. Okay.
Okay.
And let me. So, did you forward that file?
Yes, sir. Yes, I did.
Okay. All right. Let me give you a feedback on that. How did you, so in general, how did you guys feel about it? Like if I was not there in the class, who led the class and how was the discussion? Did you guys find it easier, found it difficult?
Honestly, first 15 to 20 minutes, we thought we're not gonna make it. Like we thought like it will be hard, like how are we gonna communicate and how are we gonna like see the file. So I said, so we were about to like finish the call and we were about to split the whole assignment like in 3 parts, but I told both of them like, we can just start editing the file of customers information, the customers.
That was a smart move. Yes, I was expecting someone will do that.
So yeah, there's one cheater in the group. So so I started off doing that because we were wanting to revise the BRD of customers as well. So that way we know like what's going on in customer and what's the difference in the drivers. So I emailed you already. You can check it.
Yes, let me open that. Can you guys see my screen?
Yeah.
I think this is the name of your Uber driver platform BRD, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So I think first few requirements were pretty common. I think the only difference was that wherever in the flow, wherever we have asked for some information, you added driver's license number, SSN address. So I think that's all you needed. It's pretty straightforward in a way where your sign-up flow is not going to change much, right? But once you land up on the home screen, that will change. Instead of booking a ride, you need to accept the ride. So driver shall be able to submit the sign-up form. Driver should be able to add their payment information as listed below. Oh, okay. This is the ACH information because it will go to their bank account directly.
Yeah, and we were confused about the next C27 driver's eligibility. Is it okay? Like,
must pass the mandatory. No, definitely you have to have that. That's a business rule. So looks like other group was not able to coordinate and complete their assignment. So we had two parts to it. One was the BRD. The second one was on the process flow and the user journey. So by any chance, Shrey and the group, did you guys take any screenshots?
only took one screenshot. So you can see in the same file.
Okay, that's fine. I was just wondering if you have. I think that was the exercise for another group, Nisha in group, but I think they have not done their part so far. So our goal is that when we do these assignments, this group is going to share their BRD to you all, and you guys will be sharing your user journey and process flow to them. So when you guys share each other's assignment, you also have to give feedback to each other, like on what you guys did and are you following or not, right? Because at the end of the day, all those things should combine and look like should come along. Am I making sense?
Yep.
So I think you guys got the essence of BRD. And this is exactly what you do in your office as well. You can literally use this BRD if there is any project that you're working on, which is related to user interface, right? There are 70-75% projects in IT world would be related to user interface. When I say user interface, it's a page that you're going to see in front of you. That page could be developed for people within the company, or that page could be developed for my clients, or the page could be developed for my customers. It could be any of them, but you will be dealing with a page, right? So whenever you deal with a page, these are the kind of requirements you need to have. You need to first create the user journey, then create the process flow, then start writing the business requirements from there after getting everyone's approval on those two things, which is process flow and the user journey.
So we didn't change the overview part. Like if you go to C1.
Yes, that's fine. I was not looking at that's fine. That's not a problem. So our main thing is this one, right? We need to really master these things, what we are writing here. And again, when I say master, we just need to know how to write these things. When someone asks us in the interview that, hey, write a business requirement for this page, you should not fumble, right? And that's where this exercise and this list that we have on the top here, this is going to help you to navigate through in the interview, because you can ask these questions to the interviewer. Hey, what are the business rules we're talking about? If they have taken some random example, usually when I interview people, I give them a random example. For example, I'll just talk about the kayak.com, or I'll tell them go to fedex.com and walk me through this page. How would you write a business requirement for that? Or go to this mobile application, look at this first page. I'll give them a screenshot, write a requirement for this, right? So when we do that, everything will start with an assumption, because when I'm giving you a screenshot, I'm not part of that company. So of course, when you ask me a question, what are the business rules for that company? I will not have an idea, but I'm going to make up something, right? So when you are in the interview process, it may be possible 1 out of 10 interviews, 1 out of 10 interviews is the chance where someone can ask you to come online, write requirements in front of them, like business requirements. Its chances are 1 out of 10. So 1/10 is the chance is what you're looking at in your interview. And that would be for an hour or so. That interview can be hour long. And literally all you have to do is when you see the page, you should have this cheat sheet somewhere around you, like on your table. When you're on, even you're on the webcam, that's completely fine. You can have your cheat sheet and you can tell them, hey, I usually have my cheat sheet that I refer for my requirements. Can I use that? Even if you don't want to mention that, it's completely fine. Put it somewhere where nobody can see that, or put it on the wall, paint it on the wall, right? Like in big printout. Put it on the wall so that when you are looking at screen, automatically you're looking at that requirement side by side. And you need to know now, hey, I can write this requirement this way. I can write this requirement this way. Am I making sense? You're on mute, Sabnit.
Okay. Will they provide you with the wire diagrams for
No,
if you have
everything will be done by you.
What if we
They
don't
can-
know? Like you said, the FedEx example. So
Yeah. So FedEx is a page that is given to you, right? You said
Okay.
wireframe. Nobody's going to give you wireframe. That's the actual page,
okay.
right? Wireframe is something which you come up with. You create a prototype which you define. If there may be a possibility where they ask you, hey, we want to do something like this. Can you show us how to create a wireframe for that? They can ask you to create
What
wireframes
if we
in the
don't
interview.
know the process? You know, like Uber is very generalized. Most of us knew what we were looking into, like step by step.
Yeah.
But what if we don't know the back process of it? You know, what is step 1, step 2, and then we can write a BRD. What if we don't know the process? Then how do they assist us?
They will not, so you will not get any assistance, right? And when you don't know something, that's the reason we have to ask these questions. Hey, what does the business process look like? And if you do not understand something, you can be honest. Hey, I have not used this website before, but I'll be making some assumptions while I'm writing the requirements, and I hope you are okay.
Okay.
Right? So they are not going to judge you on how accurate your requirements are. They're going to judge you on what kind of questions you are asking, what kind of framework you are using, right? So when you are, let's say if I give you, I've not done trading before. If someone tells me, just go to Robinhood app or go to any trading app, right? And create the flow. I don't even know how the stocks are working. So I can tell them, hey, I've never invested in stocks before. But if this is the example you want me to go on, I'll probably make some assumptions, and I hope that you're okay with it.
Okay.
Right. So I think since you guys use the similar format on the BRD, I think your BRD is fairly structured at this point, and you have covered the critical things in this BRD. I can see that. Regarding the bank account number here, this is a tricky part. If you remember, we said that we are going to use a third party's tool to manage the payment, right? So this is also managed in Stripe, where you have to give your bank number and routing number. It works a little differently. So you have to integrate this product with them. So the way usually it works is this way. You log in with your bank information, or you can provide the routing number and your bank account number. You have two different options to verify your bank account. Once you verify your bank account with either of those things, you will receive a small deposit for like few cents in your in your personal checking account, whatever that account you've given, right? You need to go back, be able to put those deposits number, and then it will verify your account, and now it will start sending money to your account, which will be every week or every month, whatever Uber's policy is.
So how do we know we're using third party or not? Like
your company, your manager will tell you. This is a question you have to ask. Hey, how are we managing payments? 99%, any company in the world will have a third party tool for payment. There is no way anybody can create payment on their own. Payment is extremely sensitive, extremely governed industry, where you cannot go wrong. If something goes wrong, if someone hacks your database, all the customer's information is gone, right? There are a lot of lawsuits that happens behind it. So nobody creates payment information from scratch for their company. 99.99%, every single industry in the world, whether it's IT or not IT, they will have to use a payment system.
But we did have for the customer's credit card information, right?
Yes, the same system will be used to manage this account number as well.
So,
So
why we wrote the customer's information if we have Stripe?
Customers information? I don't see customers information.
You know, like we deleted that in this file because it was a customer's credit card, customer's.
Yeah,
fee.
customer's credit card information will not be here. This is a driver's app, right? Over here, there will be a requirement saying that when customer's ride is finished, after that, customer's card will be charged, right?
Yeah.
That from that charge, Uber will take 20-25%, and then they will assign it to driver. That remaining amount, right? When the remaining amount is assigned to driver, after that it will compile it for a week. If you have given 50 rides, and after that if there is a refund that happens, like some customer have claimed the refund on the ride, or you've done a poor service and your rating has gone down and your amount has gone down, right? All those things will happen in that 1 week. After that 1 week, whatever the final amount is, that number will be deposited in your bank account as a driver. In addition to that, they might be giving you promotions that, hey, if you have done 60 rides a week, then you'll be qualifying for additional $500, right? So it's directly that promotion is directly tied to your account. So whenever they transfer this amount to your bank, they won't do it on daily basis. This is mostly weekly or bi-weekly. They would never do it on a daily basis because there is a charge. Every time they deposit money in your bank account, they have to pay $5 to $10 or so. Right? So over here, for you, if you want to go, I can tell you 90%, there is a chance that this entire piece will be handled by another BA. And your role is to work with that BA, tell them that, hey, this is what our drivers are doing on the app, and this is the amount that we'll be sending to them. And then everything else will be managed by them. And that BA will work with third party to make sure that the rules are set up properly. There are a lot of legal and compliance requirements that comes in here. The moment you talk about payment, there are a lot of restrictions, right? Your legal team will monitor it very closely to make sure that we are having right terms and conditions. If customer asks for refund, there is a clear disclaimer on the page. Hey, you will not get refund once the ride is complete. Something on those lines, right? Just to give you an idea. But again, we don't have to go into too much detail on this one. Otherwise, I think it can take days to just talk about that. It's a monster on its own. So just for your knowledge, it will be integrated with third party like Stripe, Braintree, then PayPal or Square. There are other players out as well, but I'm just giving you some examples, right? And when you integrate with them, they will give you all this functionality. All you have to do is just create that page and put your information and you're done. Okay, so I think your BRD, I glimpsed through it, looks good to me. I feel you guys have completed up to row number 37. Can I say that? Or you guys went further in this?
52.
Till 50, 50, yeah,
Driver lands on the homepage by default.
54.
It shows 54. Okay.
Yeah, where the ride gets completed.
Okay. So when a driver lands on the homepage by default, it shows the current location to the car and current earnings. So driver clicks go, then it allows him to go online and accept upcoming rides. Once driver gets a ride request, driver shall accept or reject the ride in a given time frame. After accepting the ride, driver shall be able to view the customer's claim. Shall be the quicker way to reach to the customer. Once driver arrives. Okay, I think you got the gist of it.
Is it okay?
Yeah, you guys got the gist of it.
But the same question that the Subneet asked, like, you know, we knew about Uber. I mean, we will be totally blank if there is some random thing comes up. No, we won't do it. No.
Again, see, any random thing that you think about, right? Think about yourself as a customer and vet through this list. This is the reason we are talking about this list. You need to think in this perspective that, hey, let's say if I'm working for a stock, what kind of calculation logic we have on stock? What is the minimum amount of stock I can do? What is the maximum stock amount I can do per trade? What is the high level process flow? If I want to buy a stock, what are the steps in that? right? Or you give me an example of something which I would not have an idea about, something very, very specific to your company. And I'll give you an example how to handle that situation. Looks like Abdul just sent a message. So guys, classes will always be on Zoom. Teams is more for our interaction. Okay, anybody wants to give any example from their specific job that they're doing, which I don't know? I can give you an example on how to ask those questions.
This is not for my job description, but earlier you have said that you have worked in banking industry, in healthcare. So say, for example, if it's healthcare,
Okay.
then what kind of, I don't know, is it related to products? So what kind of, I don't even know what areas and what kind of requirements we need. And there might be an app, there might not be an app.
Yep, that's correct. So healthcare industry is super, super specific, right? There are some codes that is being used, but I can tell you when you are showing in your resume that you don't have healthcare experience, and when you're applying for a job, they're not going to ask you detailed questions on healthcare. What they might do is they might open a CVS website in front of you, CVS or United Healthcare. I'm just giving some examples, right? There is a pharmacy, there is a insurance provider, and there is a clinic or a hospital. Those three players are involved in it, right? They might give you one website from any of this. Once they give you that website, now they can tell you, hey, write the requirements for this in front of me. So how it is going to work? If you want to apply for an insurance provider, right? If you want to work with an insurance provider, what are the steps? Of course, you have to give your personal information, your contact information, your background, your history, right? Your family history and all those things. Once you do that, they'll probably provide you different type of plans, which plans you're qualifying for. Correct? Once you qualify for the plan, for each plan, there is a prerequisite condition, and there are some things which are included, some things which are not included. What are those things, right? And these are the questions we have to ask, right? Based on our user experience. As a user, what kind of things you have had in the past? What kind of things you have seen in the past? It is purely your imagination. When you don't know something, our main job is to work on the project when we don't know something. That is the reason we are at the job, right? Because if there is a project that is already existing, nobody needs us. We are always working on a new project. And that is why we need to muscle on these things. This will let you start asking questions. This is your initial list. Including this with your problem statement and solution that you have talked about, it will help you drive in the direction where you start asking 3 or 4 questions. Those 3 or 4 questions will become 10 to 12, and those 12 questions will now become 50 questions. So this is the way you deal with uncertain situations, or well, I'm lacking for the word right now, but things where you don't know things, right? This is the framework for that. You will not go wrong with this. Like, what kind of error scenarios can happen? If someone is applying for health insurance, what kind of error scenarios? Either it can be accepted, it can be rejected, or because there is a precondition, the price would be super, super high because there is a pre-existing condition in some patient, right? So these are different type of scenarios that you could see. You will never, they will never give you an example about which you will not have a knowledge. It's mostly a generic topic in the interview. When you start the project at office, it could be possible that you do not know anything about the project. And that is the reason you talk about the problem statement, solutions, what is the business plan that they have created before. And you ask W4H, why are we doing this? What are we doing it? Who is going to use it? Will give you more idea. And then you jump into these things. Right? So our framework, W4H, project starter, business case, and this list. Combining all these things, I can guarantee you will at least come up with 5 to 6 good questions. And that's how you will start rolling.
So I want to understand. So business requirements is mainly to do with dealing with external clients, right? It has got nothing. No. So what if they ask you about internal processes? Like, I work in a nonprofit, and we give grants. Okay, so we can, I can write business requirements for somebody who wants to create a donor account on the website. But then as a new, person, new hire, I wouldn't know what the internal process is like, or how we processing a grant, or how to improve the business processes. So how
Let
do
me
we go
ask you a
about that?
question.
Yeah.
Before you joined the company, right? The time
Yeah.
when you joined the company, what was your first week looking like?
Learning, training,
Who taught you those things?
the senior staff, and it depends in different teams like the HR, the IT, the processing team. So yeah, there were different trainings.
Exactly. You just answered your own question. This is exactly what is going to happen in your company.
Okay.
Nobody's going to throw you under the bus in first week that, hey, you drive this on your own.
Okay.
Right? There are people available to you. If there is a new project, they will give you enough guidance
Okay.
on what the project is about. In first 1 or 2 weeks, mostly it's a learning week. You will get a lot of documents from them, and you will also understand what company is working on right now. Right? If someone tells you that, hey, you are hired for Bank of America, now what? Bank of America has so many portfolios, so many different type of businesses, right? You don't know which business you're going to work for. But within each business, there is so much specific things that we have to be aware about, which you will not know unless we start working on the project. So there will be help provided to you in first few weeks where you will be shadowing someone. You'll be working with another business analyst or another product owner for first 3 to 4 weeks. And when you're working with them, you don't have to get carried forward with this small details, like whether there will be push notification, there will be SMS notification. We will not ask such questions. Our questions will purely rely on this. What kind of business logic we have? What is the business rule? Then over here, we talked about the different type of softwares. You see this, what kind of softwares we have in the company, W4H framework, project charter. This is what you'll be focusing on purely in first 3 to 4 weeks to understand things first. Once you know those things, then only you can start creating user journey or process flows or start writing business requirements. Before that, you cannot do that. And you don't have to be afraid to ask those questions. Right?
Yeah. Thank you.
Cool. So I see Abdul, I see Shazia, Revant. I don't see, oh, okay. I think every Saturday, Hassan will not be able to join the call, is what he told me. So I remember that now. So Abdul, Shazia, Revant, and Nisha. Sorry, Revant was part of Shrey's group, right?
No.
So Nisha, Abdul, and Shazia, what did you guys do to coordinate this entire week?
Oh, it was me, Savneet, and Shrey, I think.
Yeah, and Sazia was not in our group. I think it was Revant and Hassan and myself. There were 3 of us.
Shazia was in Nisha's group. I think. That's what we were told.
I forgot,
Yeah.
I forgot how did I divide. Okay, so can I get to know who was in Shrey's group? Shrey, Savneet, and who else was there?
Abdul.
Abdul.
Yeah.
Savneet.
So Abdul, Shrey, and Savneet. That was one group, correct?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. The second group is Revant, Nisha, and Sazia. Hassan is not on the call. I want to understand what did you guys try to coordinate with each other?
So
I did not.
Sorry, Sazia, go ahead.
Sorry, guys. I was not connected to you guys, and I had something going on the entire week. So the next time, I'll be more efficient to connect with you guys.
Okay. From Nisha and Revant, may I know what did you guys try?
So what I did is that on Monday, I sent an email to, and I guess I copied Abdul by mistake, or maybe I thought Abdul was in the group. But anyway, I sent an email on Monday and I sent few points, like I created the driver, I think, the initial part of the assignment. So I sent that to the group and I said, these are the points that I've come up with. Let me know your feedback and let's connect. But I didn't hear anything till Wednesday. And then I think we were talking about Microsoft Teams. So I sent a chat message on Microsoft Team, but I guess everybody was struggling. And then I was busy, and I think Thursday was too late to submit an assignment. So that was about it. I think
Okay.
that was my coordination.
All right. Raven, may I know it? May I know what you tried from your side to connect with the team?
No, actually, I mean, like honestly saying, I was learning some other another tool. Like I was learning AWS technology tools, so I was quite busy with that. So some development tools I was learning, so I could not find time for this one. So I need to manage two technologies. One is BA and AWS. So my prior is to focus on both the technologies. So I'm learning both the technologies at one time. So I mean, almost all close to the AWS technology tool. That is like maybe like next week I'll finish off all the learning. So I was quite focused on that tool because I was into development and some coding. So I was completely focused on that. So I can say sorry to Nisha because I'm unable to log into the tool. Also, there was no time for me because from morning 9 to 5, I was in completely class and coding and my friends, so that I don't have time for that.
Okay. So I'm going to say something which I should not in the class. And please excuse me for what I'm going to say now. So do you think Revant has a genuine reason? It feels like he's overloaded, right? It feels like he's overloaded with a lot of work because he's trying to do multiple things at the same time. Should I have two options from here on, right? From at least for this last week, whatever has happened, I could accept that excuse and say, hey, it's okay. Or I would make him accountable. It doesn't matter what work you have to do this, right? I just have two options. The reason I am saying this is because when you're going to work in the company, this is exactly what is going to happen. The reason I'm stressing on this is because this shows your coordination skills. If you are coordinating, when you're working at office, without working at office, we are so busy. So just imagine once we start working at office, how busy we will be.
Yeah.
If people are not responding to you, or if you're not responding to people, right? How are you going to deal with that situation? Does it mean that our task or our project gets delayed? Can we let that happen?
No.
Right? We need to come up with creative ways. If there is no response, we need one leader who does not need any response and do everything on his own or her own. Am I right? So there was an opportunity for someone in that group where that person could have led entire initiative on their own. This is what BA does, right? When you see the gap in the company, you don't wait on people. You drive things. People don't drive you. This is the quality that is what I'm trying to teach you in the class, right? If you adopt this quality, you will never fail in your life as a BA or a PO. So in your case,
would we end up getting overloaded with work, like if we're picking up other people's slack?
Yes, that is the reason we do BA, PO, and Scrum Master, 3 roles in the class. Go ahead, Samni.
So that means what you're telling me is that we should not accept, like we should not be in our mind frame that we're doing a teamwork. Everything should be in our plate and we're the ones who are going to be in charge of everything. If it's not going to be divided in the team.
If anything fails, we are responsible. If anything is successful, entire team is responsible. Let's put it this way, right? Because you can't take everyone's credit. But the behind the scene, people know that if you don't have a good leader in the team, it's very hard to deliver a project. So in the case where Nisha, Revant, and Shazia, when they were busy, at least there could have been one response saying that, hey, I would not be able to attend the session this week. So that is first thing that was missing. So in that way, it would have given clarity to other people that they would not expect anything from people who cannot attend the call, right? And I'm not trying to pick on anyone. I'm trying to show you a genuine situation. This is what I deal with every single day in my office. I have 5 people with whom I have to have meetings, and they will never show up in the meetings because they have so many other high priority things on their plate. So how would I deal with this situation, right? I just have two options. I'll keep rescheduling meetings or I'll make them accountable for what they're not doing. Because if they're working on something else, they will get credit for that. But if my project fails, I'm the one who's responsible for that. So
Completely agree.
I need two things
So
from that
isn't
person.
their project too?
No,
Aren't they accountable for their things? Or is it just?
yeah, you can very well say that Revant, Nisha and Sazia and Hassan, it was everyone's project, but no one did that, right? Who is suffering?
Everyone.
Right? So everyone is suffering, but boss is going to tell each of them, right? If you are a new person in the company, if you're not your boss's favorite, they'll finger point on you. Right? That person knows if that person is smart in playing dirty politics, he exactly knows how to put you in front of other people and show it as your problem. Hey, you just followed up me once. Why didn't you call me, or why didn't you reach out to me? I overlooked your message. Was it so urgent? If it was urgent, then you could have reached out to me multiple times. Now what would you do?
So are you saying that in real life scenario, and maybe this is kind of a real life scenario, would you proceed doing the whole thing without even informing the team?
No, that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is your job is to make sure that job gets done.
Yeah.
And whatever it takes, right? Whether it takes one person, whether it takes the army, it doesn't matter. Your job is to make sure the job gets done on the timeline. This is not part of the class at all that I'm going to be that we're talking about right now. I'm spending almost an hour, but it is extremely important for you to understand this part. That as a person, like as a BA or a PO, your job is to make sure that if you do not get any participation from any of your team members, you take a stab at it. You do all the groundwork, like take all the screenshots. Right, we know that people are struggling to find time. Let's say in this case, if Revant and Shazia would have replied that, hey, I'm not able to attend the class, or I'm not able to attend the working session because of so and so reasons, then you knew that, hey, I'm not going to get help from these people, or even I'm not hearing back from them. So I should not even wait on them. I want to make sure that this is my project. I would not let it fail no matter what. And if I do not have anyone's help, I will put together all those screenshots on my own, if possible. And I will just go with my assumptions. And whenever they are available, I'll discuss my assumptions with them and correct this flow from there. So what happened? You did not stop your work. Now, when someone blames you that, why didn't you reach out to us? Hey, I reached out to you a few times already. There was no response. I have done this work. If you have time, let's sit back and let's discuss these assumptions. So you are not in that seat where people are blaming you now because you have done so much work. And you have a point to say. So you are expecting that I reach out to you 2 times, even though I cannot hear back from you, I have to try 3 times. Is that what you're saying? We have to counter ask that question. What kind of expectation is that? Right? If you were busy to even reply to 1 message, you are thinking I have a lot of free time that I can send you 3 messages in 3 days. No mercy.
Yeah, you're not their babysitter. Yeah, exactly.
No mercy. This is the reason I said I'm going to say something in the class which I should not be. But when you are at office, no mercy. No one is your friend. Your only friend is your project. If that gets delivered, you are in a good situation. If not, then people are going to blame fingers on you. This is my 12 years of experience.
But that's
Okay,
as Savneet mentioned, you should be prepared that when the project is successful, the whole credit goes to the team, and nobody is going to see that, hey, you put the 80% of effort. Yeah. Okay.
But your business team is going to see that when project gets delivered, often it's entire team, but you will automatically shine if the project has gone well, because project cannot go well if there is not a good BA in the team.
Okay.
What if 1%, whatever we are putting down is not approved by our team? That is not even like helping us put it together. And if the last minute they say that we don't agree with this, we have a deadline. How do we accomplish that then?
Escalation. If you cannot, you need to let me know in advance that you're not going to be part of these meetings. If you're not going to be part of these meetings, I want someone else who can give me this information. If not, then I'm raising a red flag. This project is stuck.
Okay.
Right? So I think I'm lacking in words. That's why I said no mercy. I did not say it literally as no mercy. What I'm trying to say is that you cannot rely on people. Right? You need to make sure that your things have been lined up and you are ready to go no matter what. You are always ready to have a discussion. It should not look like that when that person says, okay, if this happened last week, I'm so sorry. Let's meet tomorrow. Now, when he says, let's meet tomorrow, and if you are unprepared, then it'll backbite on you now. That you are not prepared for this meeting and you are trying to meet me from last 1 week. What were you planning to discuss? Do you see how people can troll you in this thing? Although you have tried everything, but still things did not get done. It is all looking like it's your fault, right? And again, this was not part of the class, but I still want to we have spent good amount of time on this. The summary here is that you want to make sure whether someone replies or not reply, you will be persistent in sending message again and again. And when someone does not reply after 1 or 2 messages, your third step would be do some work from your side and reply. I need reply by this time. If I don't hear back from you, I would assume whatever I have in this document is all good. Give a reasonable deadline, right? Hey, I've created this business requirements document based on my initial understanding. I would appreciate your feedback. This document is due by 18th of March. If I did not hear back from you by 16th of March, I'm assuming everything is good in this document, which means automatically you are saying that there is a sign off on someone. Again, you cannot do this to your boss. Okay, you can't do this to your boss. You can do this to your peers. So you're putting a language in your email or when you're in your meetings that, hey, I need this information by this time. You need to create a sense of urgency. If you don't do that, people are not going to reply. I can give you one recent example. I'm working with a developer for last, I think, 8 months now for one of the companies that I'm working for right now. The developer has about 17 years of experience. 17 years of experience, guys, real. I'm like genuine experience and super smart developer. And he reached out to me because we were working with some third party and he wanted to send an email. So I told him, he explained me everything and he was asking me to send that email. I could have done that, but I did not want to do that. So I tried to put him in an uncomfortable situation. I told him, you go ahead and send the email. It's fine. I don't have to be involved in this because it's a technical question. And if you need any help drafting that email, let me know. I offered my help though. I did not throw him under the bus that, hey, do things on your own, right? So he said, oh, okay. He explained me everything on the phone, but he's struggling to draft an email. So he sent an email 2 times, nobody replied. It's been almost like 1.5 weeks now. And now I'm checking the status. Hey, what is the status? And he's saying, hey, I have not heard back from him yet. So now that annoyed me, right? That, hey, I've given you 1.5 weeks. It was your job. I told you to get these things done. You are telling me that because you did not get response, entire team has to wait for another 1.5 weeks now. We're talking about 10 payments salary, 10 people's salary. If you are not doing your job, you are going to pay for 10 people for doing nothing in next 1.5 weeks. That's like $100,000, right? Show me some ownership, right? If you are dealing a task, show me some ownership. So ownership would have been, so I drafted the same email again, exact same way. Hey, this task was due by this date. If we don't get this information in this time, these are the consequences. If you cannot help us out, let us know who should we reach out to, but we need to talk about this because we cannot really wait for this information for 1.5 weeks. Immediately there was a response. Why? Because there was a sense of urgency in that. Whenever we write emails, whenever we reach out to people, it should sound like there is some urgency or make people feel guilty that, hey, they are not part of, they did not reply. Like in this case, of course, I don't want to again pick on names, but I'm trying to create a real scenario. Shazia and Raven felt that they were guilty that they did not reply, right? So you need to create that urgency. Automatically, when I start asking questions, what did you do from your side? People are under the heat now. That what, hey, I did not try anything. What should I do now? These are the questions being asked you in the office as well every day. This is our job. So we have to drive things, and in next 5 weeks you will see that you are climbing up in that ladder, and you will exactly know how to deal with the situation. But I'm just trying to give you an idea. What happened in last week happens in my every batch. You guys are not the first one. But I don't really have an exclusive discussion on this at this level, but I felt it was important for you guys to know this. Okay. So no hard feelings. Again, it was a real scenario. Next time when we give the assignments, please take them seriously. If you do not get any input, do whatever you can from your own side. it's good to make mistakes, but it's not good to not make any mistakes and not do anything. Right? That's the mantra. Okay. So before we go forward, can I confirm everyone has access in Teams now?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So Savneet, Shrey,
No.
and
Yes.
I think Shazia, you might have to check your email. You would have received an invitation to join Teams. I think
Okay, I'll check it.
sometime last week, probably 4 or 5 days ago.
Okay. Okay.
So for Savneet, Shrey, and Abdul, was it easy for you guys to chat over Teams?
Yeah, it was okay.
Initially, no,
Yeah, it was good.
but later on, I was able to figure it out.
But now you're good, right? This is the
I'm okay.
go-to tool. We need to use this. We need to understand how it works. This is the go-to tool for every single company. This is the chat that they use. And we had an option to go with WhatsApp, but I think this is going to help you because this is their office tool. This is what people use. One thing that I would request you all is to download Teams app on your phone. So whenever someone replies, whenever you reply to someone, that if you're looking at my screen right now, you always have to mention someone's name. So whenever you're addressing, let's say if I'm addressing it to Shazia, I think she's not part. Okay, I can see this one. So whenever I do @ like we do in WhatsApp, right? I'm mentioning someone's name. Why? Because when you do this and when you send a message, that person will get a notification here or in an email. So that person knows that someone has tagged me and that particular chat needs my attention.
It kind of reminded me of like Facebook comments section.
Yes, it's pretty similar. If you have used the Facebook Messenger or WhatsApp, this is pretty similar to that. The only difference here is that you can add files and you can edit these files in real time. You can open this in browser, you can edit these files in real time and everyone will have this information. Anybody can edit it from anywhere and everywhere. Another thing is there is an apps here, files over here. You see more apps. I can create the like surveys and all those things here directly and put it in the chat if I have to. I can create meetings from here directly. And this is, you can have different channels for each kind of communication thing that you're going to have, like one for interview, one for business requirement document, if we have to, right? Those different channels we can create, and those channels will have focused discussions about that topic. So it will be easier for you to go back and look back that channel for your interview preparation and all. So there are a lot of benefits. I think more than 60-70% companies are using this Microsoft Teams now. This was Skype tool before. Skype has been bought by Microsoft, and hence they started offering this in the last few years. It is doing wonders right now. Just for your knowledge. Okay. So we are going to learn one more Microsoft tool today. This is Teams, files, wiki. I think that's all you need to know in terms of Teams. I think more we are going to chat on Teams, you'll probably get hang of it, how to use and how to discuss these things on Teams. But we want to continue from our previous discussion on business requirements document. I want to finish the topic for this one project today and start Agile. So before I jump into this topic, are you guys all ready or do you guys need a quick break? I'm fine either way.
I'm okay with anything.
Okay. And once again, guys, my intention was not to being harsh on you guys. I was just trying to show you a reality of what's going to happen in the company. So if my comment was a little harsh, please excuse me for that. Cool. Let's talk about the business requirements document. I think we had another one. So I actually had a case study for you all. And let me show you what I mean by that case study. So in one of the previous projects where I was working, we had a situation where when customer logs in, right? When customer logs into their account to make a payment, usually what happens when you're making your credit card payment, what happens? If your payment is due on 18th of March, and when you log in right now, what would it show you? Hey, your current amount due is this much, correct? And you have a choice to make payment before that date or on that date, right? But where I was working before, I think it's been a while working on this use case, but I just thought to share this information with you all. This might be answering the question that you guys were asking earlier. If I don't know something, how could I go into the detail, right? This is another example of that. So what was happening was when someone logs into credit card before the due date, there was a bug that it will always show $0 as the due. But the moment you log in on the same day, when your amount is due, let's say on 18th of March, and you log in on 18th of March, it will show you proper information. Like, hey, your amount due is for $800 for this month's credit card, right? So there was a bug. And we were trying to solve this bug. And again, this is a calculation logic. So you can't just say that I will go ahead and fix this. It needs a different team, as we discussed earlier, right? Whenever you deal with pricing, there is a different team that handles the pricing. So we have to work with that team to come up with the exact calculation logic and changes that we want to make in that. But even before we do that, there are a lot of questions. Hey, what if someone has a late fee charged? What if someone has not made payment in last month? What would the amount due in this month in that case? Right? There were several questions being asked. We had no clue on what to answer, because when I joined this company, I think I was just like 3 or 4 weeks in the company. That's it. I was not the subject matter expert on that. So my instant reaction to that situation was, hey, let's talk in business terms first, right? Let's talk about the happy scenarios, like the good scenarios, right? What the easy ones. Once we understand that, we'll talk about the like medium level scenarios, and then we'll go to the tricky ones. So I divided scenarios into 3 different categories first. Okay. After dividing into those 3 categories, the next step was that this could be your interview answer, guys, just for your knowledge. If you are working on some, if you did not know anything or there was a bug, how did you solve it, right? A nasty bug. So we looked at the different scenarios. And if you're looking at my screen right now, can you see my screen?
Yeah.
So these are the scenarios that I came up with. Purely common sense. No subject matter expertise required here. Okay. So first payment. Every customer has to make a first payment. When you are signing up as a new customer, there is going to be a first payment, right? First payment could be in different ways. I can log into my account in 3 or 4 weeks advance. I can log into my account in 6 days advance. I can log into my account today and my amount is due tomorrow. I'm logging into the account the same day when my amount is due. And my account is past due. I've made my first payment before the due date. I've made my first payment after the due date. And I've made my first payment on the due date. Now, all this, how many scenarios? About 8 scenarios we're talking about here. For each of this scenario, I want to find out what customers will see on the page. What is the amount due and what is the amount due date? What should happen in each of this scenario?
What is this payment we're talking about?
Credit card payment.
So why are we talking in Uber app?
No, we're not talking in Uber app. This is just another case study I wanted to give you an example on.
Okay.
I'm trying to give you one example, like you guys asked me a question, right? If you don't know something, how you handle that, right? So I literally assume myself as a user. As a user, what will I do when I see my credit card statement? These are things I can do.
Okay. Yeah.
Another thing is last payment. If my card is going to be closed, customer's last payment is due in next 3 to 4 weeks. Same questions as above. But the only difference is that instead of first payment, I've changed it to last payment. Right? Third is regular payment. Every month I'm paying some payment due. Again, exact same scenarios. The only difference is that instead of last payment, it is all regular payment here. Third is fourth is late fee section, where customers have not made payment on time. There will be a late fees charged. But late fees does not get charged. Late fees does not get charged instantly. Late fee gets charged when? If you are 3 days past due or 5 days past due, after that there will be a late fees. Otherwise, they will not charge you late fees directly, right? So there are 2 different scenarios. When you're past due, there is a late fee, and when there is no past due, sorry, when there is a past due, there is a late fee, and when there is a past due, there is no late fee. Customer made a regular payment but did not pay late fees. We all do this. Like there is a late fee and we see that, hey, I'll probably call them and negotiate with them. So you can very well make just a regular payment and not pay late fees, right? Customer did not pay any amount for next 2 to 3 months. Customer can make a partial payment. Customer can make an advance payment. Customer's account is paid off. Do you think these are all valid scenarios? Right? So for each of this scenario, what I did was I created a mock-up of that screen and entered the amount in that. In this scenario, this is the amount it should show. In this scenario, this is the amount it should show. In this scenario, this is the amount it should show. So these are just handful of scenarios. There are like additional 100 scenarios probably I'm missing here. But my goal was not to come up with all the scenarios. My goal was to start the discussion with the team, right? Give them this idea that, hey, we need to think through these scenarios before we can do anything. Am I making sense?
Basically, enough scenarios to pay attention to it.
Sorry?
Basically, you're saying that there's enough scenarios to where you need to pay attention to.
Yes. Because when you're going to look into this, it will give you a pattern on what the screen should look like. You need to look for that pattern, right? And once you start talking in these terms, your team member will help you out to come up with additional scenarios. I didn't even have to come up with this many scenarios, to be honest. I could have very well just stopped here, first payment and last payment, and all these things I could have just stopped here. I know that the moment I'm going to get into this discussion, people will have a lot of questions and they will see reasons to create the mock-up for each scenario and make sure that we have right amount captured everywhere. Because in your entire application, if you have a mobile application for your bank, right? Just assume there is one small bug. It just does not show you right balance and right amount due. Would you ever use your mobile application again? That is the heart, right? That is the heart of the mobile application. So when you're working on such projects, you cannot go wrong. You do not have flexibility to go wrong even by an inch. You have to be very, very thorough, right? And that is where you will not take this ownership on you, that I'm the one who's signing off on this requirements. You will say, I'm asking questions, pricing team has to confirm it. If this logic looks good, if they give a sign off, we can go ahead and build it. I'm just creating this structure for you to put this information in the right way so that we can we can have a discussion and we can go from there. Make sense? And again, do you think you need an expert to think about these scenarios? This was the first time I worked on payment in my life, to be honest, when I was working on this project. We do not need an expert. You can very well just go on the Google and just type, hey, different type of payment scenarios, and you will get all this information on Google as well.
Is this part of the actual BRD?
Yes.
Like so let's assume like if it's like you have to have payment scenario, or you don't have to.
You have to. So when I was working on this BRD, what you see here, I had about 35 scenarios. For each scenario, I created a BRD with a little different format. For each scenario, I had currently what it is showing on the screen, and in future what it should show. And there will be a description at the bottom that says that, hey, for this scenario, this is the logic we are going to use. So if I had like 40 scenarios there, for every single scenario, I wrote that down in a Word document, and then I had submitted that for the approval.
Oh,
it took
okay.
me about 1.5 months. It was not a small thing, guys. It took me about 1.5 to 2 months to get through this entire thing.
So we're gonna research and find a solution for each scenario.
Yes.
And what about it? Let's say if it was an Uber app scenario, like
Uber app's payment scenario is captured here. If you see, I have sent you the requirement document here. There is a business requirements. There is a payments method BRD. So if you see on the top, these are the different type of scenarios you can possibly have in Uber. There will be 2 different BAs, one for payment, one for actual Uber app, as I said before as well. So not everything is expected out of you, but when you join the team, you could very well be part of this. So in our Uber app, what's happening here? So let's read through this, right? business process logic. Current scenario, no current payment method as we are doing this first time, but our competitors use cash, physical device, or collect card info over the phone and then charge that amount manually. So because our use case was, we are doing everything manually right now. We did not have a website or a mobile application. So our current scenario is, we do not have any current online payment method as we are doing this first time. And our rivals are using cash, physical device, or collect card info over the phone. But to be process would be, customers shall be able to provide the default payment method in our mobile application while signing up or booking a ride. Customers will be charged on their card automatically after the ride is complete. Customers should also be able to leave a tip if he or she likes it. Now, business rules. We will only offer following method to collect payments from a customer: Venmo, PayPal, credit card, debit card, and Apple Pay. And these are the business rules now. Customers can provide only one payment information at a time, which is like, you can either have one credit card information or you can give Venmo, but not all. All of them is not required at the same time. Customers can provide up to 3 debit card details or credit card details. So you can add as many debit card as you want, but do you really want to do that? Right? As a customer, if you have an Uber app in your phone from last 10 years, if you have changed your credit card 10 times, you're going to update that credit card 10 times, right? Doesn't mean that you need to see all the 10 information, right? You just want to see last 3 maximum. So customers can provide only up to 3 debit cards detail. Customers should not be able to book a ride if there is no active card and valid payment method on our file. We need to get the customer's consent on charging their card first and store it in our database. These 5 payment methods will always be offered to all of our US customers. Why? Because Venmo may not be part of outside US. It's only in US. So I'm saying this, we are just going live with US right now. So for US customers, these are the only 5 payment methods we will see. If you see in India, it might show you Paytm, right? Payment method info shall be provided while signing up or booking a ride. Customers should be easily able to update the expiration date and CVS number when their cards get expired. Valid scenario, my card gets expired oftenly. Instead of updating my entire card, I just want to update my CVC number, like the number that I have behind the card. And probably just tell them, hey, my expiration date has changed from November 25 through probably October 2030, right? There will be a commission. Uber will take 20% commission from each ride, and driver gets paid only 80% of the ride fares on a weekly basis. So this amount is being charged to customer, driver will get only 80%. So Uber has to take 20%. So there will be a split in the transaction. You might see 2 different entries in your credit card, or you might see one entry which says Uber only, but Uber behind the scene will have 2 different split there. One for their share and one for driver's share. Customers can request for refund of the ride in first 90 days. Uber will not be responsible for the belongings left by customer accidentally while taking a ride from us. Now, calculation logic here, I'm just giving you one example. Customer's card will be charged based on the actual amount of their ride plus tip plus toll tax plus tax minus promotion code. And there will be another BRD provided by your company. I'm just referring you to the BRD. The entire calculation logic will be relying in that BRD. We have to attach the process to one journey if we have to, like I did over here for each payment method. So these are the scenarios here. For each payment method here now, you need to look at, there are 5 methods: Venmo, PayPal, credit card, debit card, and Apple Pay. For each of them, what are the good scenarios and what are the bad scenarios? And you need to create that user journey. That if user is going through Venmo, these are the possibilities. If user is going through PayPal, these are the possibilities, right? And document them. And I've just called out some error scenarios for debit or credit card here. So I think let's read it. For each payment method, there is a possibility where customers may not provide valid information. In such cases, it should not allow them to submit the payment info and rather prompt them to put a proper information. We need to create a mock-up for all these error scenarios. Some error scenarios here for credit and debit card. Expired credit card would not be accepted. Payments from Amex, Discover, MasterCard, and Visa are allowed. If there is any other card, it will not work. PIN number should be of 4 digits max when it's MX card, otherwise it will throw an error. So if you guys have noticed, whenever there is MX card, PIN code is always for 4 digits. For all other cards, it's always 3 digits. Card not valid due to wrong postal code or the country selected. So these are some of the error scenarios that could happen in credit or debit card, right? We need to find those scenarios for each of them. Is it making sense?
Is it our job? I'm sorry to cut you off. Is it our job to create the mock-ups for all the error scenarios?
Yes.
Is this the brief version of BRD that we were having? You know?
Yes, it's a brief version. It's a brief version, but this is pretty detailed. With this information that you have here, you have already covered about 60 to 70% of the entire BRD. And there is another document that comes after this, which is called functional requirements document, which is even in more detail. So you get about a month to create the BRD, and you get another month to create functional requirements document. Once you create those 2 documents, now you are the brain for the company, for that project. And after that, all you do is you work with 20, 25 different stakeholders, meet with them individually, share the exact same document, walk them through what you have in this document, collect their feedback, and you will just keep doing the same thing for remaining 10 months. Make sense?
So when you say that, you know, each payment scenario that you have to find a solution. So is it?
I'm not saying you have to find a solution. I said you have to create mock-ups, what users should see on screen. Technical team will find solution on how to integrate with Venmo, how to make how to enable PayPal payments in our flow. It's all on technical team. We need to create user experience. Remember, guys, we are creating car without engine, right? How engine will be connected to the car, it's all technical thing. We need to come up with what customers would like to see in the car. We are never going to talk about the engine. Am I making sense?
Or more like that instruction booklet or manual
Yes.
that comes in cars.
And again, let's go back to our previous example. What we do, we create model house. This is what we do. Everything that a customer is going to see, we need to think through those things. We create this small wooden house with wooden chips, and or using some cardboard, if you want to say that, right? Or using some software. But we create this model house, and how this model house will be built, it's not our concern. But we work on user needs. What user want to see in this house? What if user walks in here or from this balcony, and if this height of this is too small, user that homeowner can literally fall from there, right? So we want to make sure that the balcony, when you have this grill here, it has enough height so that homeowner does not fall from here. Everything from user perspective. We are not going to worry about how many bricks we need or how we are going to build this entire house. It is not our concern. We are creating this visual effects for our customer so that they understand things really well. If you do not create these visual effects, you would never know what you're working on and what you're building. You might think that you want to build something like this, and you might end up building something like this. And it's a funny story. In IT, more than 60% or 70% products that you see in real life, those products are always envisioned to look something different than what you are seeing. To an extent, I remember not iPad. I forgot the name. iPhone came up with something to listen music earlier. iPod. So iPod or iPhone, one of them was a mistake. They wanted to build another product, and they ended up building iPod or iPhone. One of them was a big mistake by Apple, and they were so happy they made that mistake because it opened up another market for them. So before you put things in perspective, it is very difficult for someone to follow what you're going to work on or what they're building. So your job is to create wireframes and mock-ups for every single scenario. And then actual painter designer will come in and will create that mock-up even in a fancier way. And developer will use that screen now and start coding. So it is our job to think through these scenarios When I say think through the scenarios, I mean you have to work with subject matter experts to make sure all the scenarios have been captured, and you will help them in thinking through those scenarios. You can only think so much, right? But the actual answer will rely on them. They are the ones who are going to approve it. Cool. Any questions? Are you guys following? You guys are nervous? You don't have to remember these things, guys. Don't worry. There will be a job support provided to you also. Don't worry about that. But you need to understand when you are in a meeting, if someone puts you on the spot, right? You need to have that courage and confidence to face that situation.
So are people helping us with the high level process flow? Because that's more complicated.
So I don't know how to answer that. Answer is yes and no. If you find people like me in the office, we will always help you. But if you find people who I don't like in my office, if you work with them, you would never get any help. It all depends on with whom you're working and where you end up getting a job. But I would prepare you for the worst. I would say that you would not get help and try to create process flow on your own. I think in last class, we created process flow. I believe you joined it late, Shrey, if I'm not wrong.
Yeah.
But did you get a chance to go through the recording?
Yeah, I've been through. Yeah,
right?
I mean, process flow is fine, but I know high level process flow will be something that more intense, I guess. But do you think there will be always help on Google for that? Like,
there will be help on Google, and when you will take the job support, when you create the process flow, I'll help you create the proper process flow.
Okay.
I'll be with you, making sure that we are capturing enough details in that to make it presentable. Where again, I think I've said this a few times before, but I want to make sure I say it one more time. Whatever you are going to write in business requirements document, whatever process flow you are going to create, whatever user journey you are creating, this is all an assumption. There will be a person who will approve this for you. So when you create these things, the goal is not to get approval in first time. Goal is to start the discussion, make people think. When that happens, it takes additional 2 to 3 weeks from that point to get to a final version and get it approved. Make sense?
Yeah.
Because if you don't put this in perspective, if you don't put this in front of people in visual aspects, right, people will never be able to understand what you are saying. Everyone understands things differently when they listen things, right? So it is very hard for someone to give you an approval. So they will give you a feedback. Hey, what I said during that meeting, I meant this, and you will start seeing this feedback coming to you. That's what we need. Once they give you feedback, you go back, update your mockup, update your wireframe, update your process flow, resend them for the approval. If it looks good, they'll approve it or they'll give you another feedback. So it's a process. This 2 months, that's why waterfall is super heavy on documentation. You spend this heavy 2 months in creating this document. Once you do a good job in this one, the entire team is going to really able to deliver the project in time, because things are done really well in the BRD phase itself. Well, for 70% companies, they don't do a good job while writing a BRD, but we don't have to be a part of the group. Cool. Any other questions before I jump into the actual BRD?
No.
I have a question.
Go ahead.
So in actual, if we have been given a project by our company, can we consult the app dude for flowchart and then, maybe look up a mockup or something, just something that is in front of us, and then create it and then write a BRD from there?
You can do that, but you can't tell that to anyone. I do this till date. I use that app dupe and theme policy that I showed you. I'm using it for the last 7 years now, but nobody knows my secret recipe unless other than you people. And that really helps me to think through a number of scenarios and how people have built the applications and all, right? It really helps me. It helps me come up with at least 10 to 12 good questions. And after asking those 10 to 12 good questions, I go into more details.
So is there something like we can follow on BRD document also, like an
you can.
website? Is there something that you can recommend us?
Oh, you mean for how to write BRD?
Yeah, something that has a lot of examples that we can look up to.
You would not find anything. I've tried going through some YouTube videos and finding some really good material and all. I can tell you, you would not find this level of details anywhere. I have had students coming from several classes that they've done BA classes before. When they attend this class, they tell me that they've never seen this list anywhere in the world. So I would not, it's your wish. I would not suggest you to go out of this material and look for something else. I think what you have here is enough to really shine at your company. But if you feel like you have to do something else, then you're more than welcome to look at Google and find more information. But it may just confuse you.
Okay, so I'm just confirming.
Right.
We good.
And I'll vouch with James on that because yesterday I tried to Google some BRDs for Uber. I didn't find anything. But when I went through yours, it was easier to like follow through when me, Shrey, and Savneet got on. It was easier to just walk.
Yeah, I know that because I was struggling when I was in your shoe, right? 11 years back, I was struggling for the same thing. And this list that you see, this 18 points, it's not 1 year of job. It took me 11 years to come to this summary, to put this 18 points here. So you may not find this everywhere, but again, this itself is a lot. I think one thing I want to again tell you in the class, when you are at office, people are not looking at you in a way where you are one-man army and you will do everything in time, right? What they're looking for is what kind of attitude you have and what kind of questions you're going to ask. Once you get into this level of questions, there is zero chance that your team is not going to like you. I'm telling zero chance, okay? Because your developers are going to love you for this level of details that you're providing to them. Your QA team is going to love you. Your boss is going to like you so much because he knows that you're doing a very thorough job. And when you do these things right, there are less bugs and project is going to get delivered in time. So if you are at least able to do these things, it will take you a month and two. You will not even have time to do anything else or look for anything else. But if you do this really well, I can see, I can just see that you will just get appreciation in your company, nothing other than that. Unless there are people who are getting jealous from you, that's a different story, which no one can control. Yeah, go ahead.
So by the end of the BRD, once we have completed it, according to what you're telling us, my understanding would be that we will be covering all these points in the BRD document.
Yes, this will not be 50 lines. This will be 500 lines document.
Okay.
This will be 500 lines document. When I created my BRD, I can give you an example of how bad I've done in my first job. And I'm so glad that I did that mistake in my first job. So when I was hired as a business analyst, and let me pause. Okay. All right.
Like for example, that request now button, it's a square and it's black colored.
You don't have to worry about those things. It will be all.
That's not our job. We just make the button. Whatever color it is, doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. What we do is we create a box, right? In this box, this is the thing that we need to have. Your designers will take care of it, what color it should be, what font size, what is the length of this button, how it should look like in iOS. It is all taken by him, not you.
We just want the core function available. Okay.
Yes, core function. And the good way to think about row number 14 is when we were writing project charter, we had come up with success criteria. Do you guys remember? I said that in 5 years from now, I want 1 million rights, right? Remember I said that? Some acceptance, some success criteria we had on the top in project charter, if you guys remember in our previous class. So our goal is we should at least have tracking available for those things. Otherwise, we will never able to measure this. So our goal is to ensure all the success criteria, to ensure we have captured all data points, all required data points or the success criteria, the defined success criteria. Okay. This is all we need to put in reporting. I can tell you based on my experience, whenever people struggle to deliver a project in time, the first thing that gets removed from the project is this one. Developers do not have time and they will conveniently skip this requirement. And then there is a discussion. Then there is going to be discussion that, hey, if we cannot do everything, what all should we capture? And then you have to just tell them, hey, just at least make sure that we capture these two buttons, request now and schedule for later, if nothing else. And your business team can tell you that. But I can tell you,
and we're not developing, like giving our 100% because we are not doing our work properly.
You mean we as in as a
business
BA or as a developer?
Yes.
Developer,
I mean,
right?
we are slacking because of somebody else.
Yes.
Because they don't want to do that.
It's not that they don't want to do that. It's because they don't have time. And this is going to be a chase always. We can't help it, but it is a reality. I think in 11 years I worked on about 95 projects by now. Out of this, I can tell you very conveniently, people have ignored reporting requirements for almost 70 projects out of that. 70 projects. And that comes in the next phase. Once the project goes live, then they add the reporting. But it is very well possible.
So ultimately, they'll have to do it.
Yeah, ultimately.
One way.
But it may not be by the time the project is going live.
Got it.
Okay. Next one is roles and permissions. I think list of systems we already covered here, right? List of system was above. Let me just copy this. List of system we have already covered in our last class. Roles and permissions. This is a tricky one. When you go to any bank, and you work with a teller, right? Do you think you are able to see the exact same thing that a teller is seeing on his or her screen for your account?
No.
He has more access than what you have, right? Do you think teller's manager would be seeing the exact same thing that teller is seeing, or would be seeing something more than what teller can see? More than what teller can see, right?
Yeah, he will get like some screen that he can authorize.
Yes.
Authorize
Exactly.
him.
Mm-hmm. When you go for self-checkout in Walmart, when you get stuck, you don't get to see screens that the person is going to help you while you're checking out, correct? So every single screen that you have created in your user journey, we need to associate a permission to that. Which user can see that screen and which users cannot see that screen. And people who can see that screen, there is a concept called CRUD. Create, update, delete. There's a concept called CRUD. CRUD is what we have these 4 permissions. In entire world, whenever you work on any document, these are the only 4 permissions you're going to have. Create a document, read a document, update a document, or delete a document. Right? When you're creating a document in Google Drive, when you give access to someone, you give them this 4 access: create, read, update, and delete. Right? Who can edit it, who can delete it, and who can create a document. So for every single screen that we have in our user journey, again, this is not your role. But developers will have somewhere this somewhere stored. So they will have this information stored somewhere on their side. But as a BA, we need to question this. Which users are going to see these screens? And what level of access they have for each screen? How many types of users will be viewing this screen and what accesses they would have for each screen provided in the user journey. This is a basic question. It's not on you, but there will be someone who is managing this document in your company. So if you imagine Bank of America may be having more than how many, just for mortgage, if I consider mortgage or their personal or checking accounts related things, there will be more than 5,000 pages overall in Bank of America. From those 5,000 pages, there are only 2,000 pages or so which customers can see. Additional 3,000 pages will not even be viewed by the customer, but can be viewed by the teller or his manager or someone who is an admin, right? So we need to get into this detail. Again, this is just for your knowledge. You are not required to do this, but I just wanted to give you this additional knowledge so you know that every screen has a permission associated with it. Just like when you're creating a post in Facebook, can someone edit your post? Can you edit someone else's post in Facebook? You cannot, but you can read it, you can like it, you cannot delete it, but you have an option where you can report that post as being inappropriate if you have to, right? But you cannot edit or delete someone else's post. Yeah.
So going back to the Uber example, with this, keeping in mind the create, read, update, and delete. Let's say the driver gets the information of the customer. Now he doesn't have the access to see the customer's, like the payment method and the payment details. He cannot. So yeah, I'm just trying to build that scenario. And the same way, the customer doesn't have the driver's, the pay method that he's going at that's at the back end, So it's a back end, like what kind of, how the company is paying him, his payroll and everything. It is just like, so we just put this one line in the document, the BRD document, what you mentioned, and give the, like, okay, this is what I want. Okay, this is something that should be there.
We will not do anything here. We work with a team who is going to create these roles and permissions. There is a dedicated team in company that manages this document.
Okay.
So we tell them we are creating this new project and make sure that you cover all the permissions.
And we don't have to tell them about anything about the permissions or anything.
We just have to talk about the project. This is the project, and this is how users are going to see it. So let's say you are on, you completed your ride. Okay, you are a driver and you completed your ride. And let's say Shrey was the one who was in the ride with you. Now, after like a month from now, Shrey calls in Uber and tells that, hey, the driver that gave me a ride, I was not happy with the driver because of these things that have happened to me. Okay. So now someone in Uber, when you call, that person should be able to pull the ride information. Right? When that person pulls ride information, he should see both the transaction details, transaction that has happened at the driver's side and transaction that has happened at the user's side, so that he can use that to information and now make some sense out of it before replying to Shrey's question, what went wrong, right? So that person has access to both the screens that Shrey and Savneet had, but Savneet and Shrey individually has access to only their own screens.
Yes.
Right, this is roles and permissions. So the software that you create, usually, if you see in list of systems here, we had a there was a system that we said feedback tool, rating system, customer communication. Right, this things here, and there was help, driver support, or instant chat. These tools, people who have access to these tools has to have access to every single screen that you are seeing. Otherwise, they will not be able to support you. So when I talk about type of users, I'm not just talking about drivers or passengers. I'm talking about admins. I'm talking about customer service staff here.
Okay.
So if you want, I can put that note here: drivers, passengers, customer support staff, admin, super admin. These are general roles that you will see in every company. Is it making sense? So now do you guys think, are you able to visualize the different, like BA's job is to drive an octopus, right? Octopus going in so many different directions. So we work with so many different groups and we constantly communicate with them to make sure that they have done their job while we are doing our job. Otherwise, things cannot go live. If, let's say, if you do not take care of this thing, all your entire project is ready, you cannot go live. This is a dependency that someone has to make sure that roles and permissions have been implemented properly in your company. Someone has to make sure that ADA requirement has been met if it is required. Someone has to make sure that content management requirement is provided to marketing team. Otherwise, there will be a delay in our project. So you work with this different departments in your company, and you make sure that their deadline aligns with your deadline, and you give them whatever they need from you. Right? That's where you are constantly communicating with so many people. So that's the reporting requirement. Any questions on this?
So is it possible that even after making the BRD, sometimes things get added or deleted, right?
Sorry, what was that? What, can you please speak again?
It's possible in the BRD, like sometimes things get changed up.
Yes,
I think
often,
you already answered that. Yeah.
Every time, but I can tell you, if I worked on 95 projects, in every single project, things have changed.
But didn't you say in the beginning that once you create a BRD, you cannot change it?
Yes, I also said that. So it works a little differently in waterfall. You get to change BRD to a point where it is not approved first. You can change whatever you want and however you want. Once it is approved by your team, right, by the stakeholders, once it is approved, then it's locked. Any change that comes after that has to go through a different process. So you can make all the changes that you want before the BRD is approved. Once the BRD is approved, you cannot make any change in that. It has to go through a process before you make any change in that, because because you have to secure approvals from all the stakeholders again. So it kind of delays the process. And that is why waterfall is not good, where we have a lot of, it does not give you flexibility. In Agile, it gives us a lot of flexibility. And we're going to talk about that in like 10 minutes from now. I think I'm almost done with the BRD concept today.
Okay.
And it will also answer your question, Shrey, regarding user story. User stories are very different.
User journey, actually, I forgot.
Sorry?
I meant user journey, sorry.
Oh, user journey. Oh, okay. Cool. So I think with this, I think these are the kind of things you want to put in your BRD. And I can tell you with guarantee that when you will ask for a template, first thing you have to do is ask for a template from your company. Do you have an existing template for a business requirements document? Take that, digest that, and then start writing requirements. In that template, you will not see 50% of the things that we have listed out here. In that template, nobody does this detailed job, but we have to do it. If we are a BA, we have to make sure that we are doing a quality work. Okay. List of screens connected. Go ahead, Abdul.
Sorry, I did have one question. So after the BRD is approved and it's locked in, and then let's say something has to be changed and you said it goes through a process. If there is a change that needs to be done, does that fall back on the BA? Like, hey, you know, is it like a negative point? Like, hey, you missed something?
So that's where the dirty politics comes in. As I said before, anything that goes wrong in the project, BA is responsible. Everything that goes right in the project, entire team is responsible. That's the sad part of our job. You make great enemies and you make great friends, both at the same time. And whenever there is a change request, first person to be looked at is BA. Why didn't you cover this? If anything goes wrong in the project, if there is an issue in the production, if something does not work, very conveniently people will say, this was not part of your business requirements document. So there are ways to
be buying
handle this.
Lunch for a lot of people, huh?
Yeah. Go ahead, Samneet.
So when you join a new company, who should you look up to? You know, that, okay, I need some assistance. I'm like fairly new. I don't know what I'm looking to. And you can expect all the guns pointed to you. Everybody's ready to attack you.
So I just
throw you under the bus, basically.
I just pray that you guys would never face situations that I have faced in my career, at least in the beginning. I'm really fortunate though for the things that I have faced, because with that hurdle, I started teaching BA like in 3 months of my first job. And I'm teaching this since like 2009 now. And the reason was because I was thrown in those situations. So I learned really well, but it can get super, super stressful. And I was in my teenagers during that time, and I don't really mind additional pressure. And I had time to stay up entire night and work on things and all. That flexibility is not there for everyone and all the time, right? When we start our career. So you will get offline support from us. And if we feel that the work environment is getting toxic for you, then there is only one option to switch the job. And but we'll work with you. It rarely happens that I think if I were to number, we probably have 2 to 3 candidates out of 50 candidates for whom we have to do this. But remaining 45 or 48 candidates are very conveniently, they're able to go to the jobs and get things done in time. And those odd situations are very different because those companies are looking for someone who is really, really, really aggressive. I feel I'm super aggressive when I'm working on any project, but there are times when even I'm struggling to catch up with people. So for those kind of situations, it's advised that I think it may be better to look for another project in those cases.
In the same company?
The first one. Sorry?
In the same company?
No, it will
Okay.
It will never be possible in the same company, right? Because they're not going to go. They're not going to give you good feedback when you join a different team. So it has to be in another company. But again, those are very rare scenarios. I'll probably say less than 5% chances.
Yeah.
So I think I just want to cover the last 2 topics of BRD, which are, I think we've already covered this before, like list of screens connected. So when you click on request now, what happens? When you click on schedule for later, what screen comes up? When I click on this information here, what screen comes up? I want to list all those connected screens here. Screens connected with each other. I don't know how else I should define this. If you have created a user journey, you should know that, hey, there are this button. If someone clicks on this button, it takes them to this page. If someone clicks on this button, it takes them to this page, right? That list of screens connected with each other. We need to list down that here completely.
So do we have to list which button is sending it you to which page?
Yes,
or do you just list the page name?
Every page will have its own name. Every page, that's
Right.
an excellent point of, I forgot to mention this. Every single page that you're going to create, you should create one unique name for that. And you can say that when someone clicks on request now, it will take them to the right option page. I'm just giving some random name right now, right? So whenever testers are testing this process, they know how many pages we have and which page it should go to. And for those pages, there will be a URL / that name of that URL. So systems, screens connected to each other, and best way is to ensure we name every single page. Customer touch points. This is, I think we already covered. There could be a first time user, there could be a second time user, there could be a repeat customer, there could be a duplicate account. Right? So this is what you add in BRD. So I have some examples here for business rules and for other topics that we covered. I'll be creating the definitions of this 18 points that we covered here and sending it to you so you know what those points are, and adding a column here in the spreadsheet so that you know exactly which one is referring to which one. Okay. Oh, did I use driver BRD? Oh, shoot. Okay, I think I can just copy and paste though.
That was our assignment, I think, right?
Yeah, I think I can just copy and paste though from here.
You're using the drivers one. Yeah.
Yep. They both looked so same. I did not realize which one is which. But does this give you a good idea? Again, you don't have to master these things. But at least you need to just build a muscle that you know, hey, when you're talking with someone, you can strike a conversation with them and you know what you're talking about. I've saved it in Uber BRD as well. So we have this information at the bottom. See, without even going into much details, we're already at about how many? 160 lines. Right? Cool. I think so. With that, I want to say, I think we are done with the BRD for Uber. And I'll give you guys a quick break in a few minutes and then just talk about the Agile at the end of the class. I wanted to show you one project about the web response that I was talking about.